have you thought about more ways to incorporate things to your self care routine every day? Because there's lots of alternative things. You can watch my alternative self care video from a couple months ago, I think now. There's lots of different ways for self care, and I'm not just talking about the physical, I'm talking about physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, what have you. Um, the biggest one, I think, for most people, especially if they're dealing with any kind of mental health issues, is being of service. And that's what I'm doing here with this channel, being of service. But if you'd like to donate some money to help a gal out, my PayPal account is the Crystal Center of Healing, and my name is Crystal. If you're new here, welcome. If you watched any of my other previous videos, thank you for coming back. If you've watched any of my videos, you know I start out with a mantra card. I get a mantra card of the week. I think last week was Befriending Pain. We talked all about pain and how we can challenge that into different things to actually help us out versus bringing us down. So I'll just shuffle here and ask the higher ups, God, Spirit, whatever you want to call them, for what we need to focus on this week. Let's see, what do we need to focus on this week? All right, one flipped over. Creating cooperation. Sounds like a good deal. And let me switch over. And hopefully, sometimes I forget to put these in because the microphone is better on here. So this week the theme is, or mantra is, creating cooperation, if I can speak. And the back says, more gets accomplished when everyone has a role to play. More gets accomplished when everyone has a role to play. And let's get some further guidance from the book. And then I will talk a little bit about it myself. When cooperation is created, the unity of all is assessed to accomplish more in one moment than any one person can do alone. As a creator of cooperation, you are giving others the right to contribute, which only broadens the effect of collective expression. Once cooperation is created, all facades of competition melt away, allowing each individual to feel a renewed depth of self-worth by serving a vision greater than any other degree of individual gain. Wow, till it's Monday. This mantra is ideal for enhancing teamwork, transforming family dynamics, and increasing inner peace. So what does Crystal have to think about creating cooperation? Creating cooperation can be difficult, depending on your family, depending on friends, depending on people at work. But you can make it happen. And it does take the burden off of one person having to accomplish a boatload of work, or whatever the project, or whatever it is you're trying to do, basically. Now, you're always going to have that one person that's like, well, I don't really want to work with other people. I don't really do well with people. And you know what I say to those people? It's like, get with a program. There's just some things in life that you have to do in groups. You can't do everything all by yourself, believe me. I mean, I live alone. I've done a lot of things alone in my life, but there's things you can't do on your own. You can't move a whole house by yourself. It's impossible. You need two people to pick up a couch and take it out to the truck, right? All right. So when you get naysayers, I would say find something that will change their mind. Everybody's got something that you can wave in front of them and get them to do, you know, I wouldn't say what you want, but to be more cooperative. If it's beer and pizza, it's beer and pizza. If it's, you know, going with them somewhere or doing something for them, I mean, what's the big deal? If it gets somebody to cooperate when you have a big project, sometimes you got to do what you got to do. I remember when I was in college the first time and I was studying computer science. And in my systems analysis class, we had to do a group project, basically setting up an office environment with like a server and PCs or mainframe. I don't know what. I can't remember exactly if it was, because that was really before the time of client server stuff, which is the server and PCs. But maybe it was, I don't know. But anyway, I think there was like 8 of us, which is a fairly large group. I think he just divided the class in half for some reason. It should have been more like 4 groups, but so somebody had to research equipment and, you know, what kind of office space you need and HVAC. I mean, there's all kinds of things to think about when you're dealing with computer stuff. And like nobody wanted to do anything, and it was like really getting on my nerves. It was like me and this other girl that did all the work. And partly because I was a computer science major and a lot of the other people in the group were different majors. And I don't know exactly why they had to take this systems analysis class, because if you don't know anything about computers, if you don't care about computers, you don't care about building an office space and having people come in and work on computers, you're not going to know how to do this. So I never understood that to begin with. We did get a little cooperation in like begging and pleading, because we were all fairly young yet. There were a couple older people, because it was more like a tech business school versus, you know, a regular university. Although now you see all kinds of ages at universities. But we found something, you know, to get them to feel like they needed to help us. I mean, I still did the majority of the work as far as putting a computer system together, but I was able to get some buy-in to help. You just got to figure out what that person's thing is. You know, like when you're dealing with your kids, you know what your kids, what you can like blackmail them to do with, you know. I think you understand what I mean. But yeah, getting people to cooperate can be difficult. If you can get them to buy into how cooperation is really helpful, whether they're an introvert, a loner type, you can figure it out. And it is better to have everybody cooperate and do their part. I know this makes me think of like bridal parties too. Getting women to cooperate, especially like dresses and, you know, bachelorette parties. I've heard some really awful stories. That's when egos get in the way, and you need to kind of like figure out how to deal with egos, everybody's ego. I mean, some people can be talked into like, oh, if we all like pitch in just a little bit, we could really make this fantastic. And then one person won't feel so burdened or overwhelmed. Sometimes it's just basically saying things like that to get people to buy in. You can get creative with people. You just have to think about it sometimes. You know, even if you have to, you know, end the group and then think about it for a while and come back and get somebody's buy-in. Makes me think of a friend of mine he's I don't think he's a director, but he's a higher up manager, and he manages like 5 people, and those managers have people in their groups. And he was talking to me about this one person of his, and I said, at some point when you're dealing with behaviors, if you can't get them to buy in, then you just have to go to HR, and then they can deal with it. If they need to put them on a PIP to get this person to see what they're doing is causing a lot of issues, then so be it. I think this guy was something about his son moving away or something. He was really acting. It sounded like way over the top to me. I mean, it's upsetting when, your kids move away or whatever, but to go into work and like totally blow things off, to me there's something else going on there. Like maybe you have an addiction, or I don't know, there's something going on. I mean, I live I don't know, 1,300 miles away from my son right now, and I'm not like not doing my job. People and their behaviors. Sometimes it's really fun. Excuse me. Like I said, I don't know why I yawn every time I do these videos. So, trying to think. Let's do a guided meditation. And what we can do here, I usually try to do a meditation based on the card we pull. Since we're creating cooperation, why don't we before we close our eyes, why don't we set the intention of thinking about people that you might be having some difficulties with in your life. And let's set the intention of getting everybody to cooperate. And we could just put it out there, see what happens. So hopefully you're in your comfy space, your self-care space, where nobody can disturb you. If you're sitting in a chair, both feet flat on the floor, if I can say that's like a tongue twister for me. Hands in your lap. You can close your eyes or just lower your gaze. And you can like scooch around to make sure your spine's straight. Just notice how your body feels. And if this subject gives you any kind of stress, especially if you're setting an intention with family members, it can be really stressful, or even friends or work environment. Just take your attention to where your body feels the most stress. How does it feel? Is it something you can if it's in your shoulder, you can move your shoulder, try to get rid of it. just take some relaxing breaths to try to help get it out of your system. Just a simple inhale, exhale. Slow inhale, slow exhale. Just do that a couple times. Now rescan your body, see if there's any other places of tension or pain. And do the same thing again. Now when you breathe in, this is going to sound strange, like breathe in wherever that stress or pain is. Just focus your attention there when you inhale. And then exhale, you could sigh, that helps. Or just very slowly exhale. If you're still having an issue in a specific area, just focus your intention on it and intend for it to dissolve and to dissipate. And don't stress yourself out about it. Just kind of be gentle. Say, I don't need you anymore. You don't need to be in my shoulder, in my arm, my leg, whatever. Now think about who you might need cooperation from, if you have a specific incident or not. And just imagine you all in a room together. Imagine that everybody has a smile on their face. And they might even be laughing, having a good time. Just hold those thoughts in your head for a minute. Everybody's having a good time, enjoying themselves. There's no chaos, there's no stress. Now think about everybody sitting down, like in a circle or in a room with tables and chairs, and you want to talk to them about something. And everybody still has a smile on their face, having a good time while they're getting seated. Now calmly think about what you want to say and say it to them in a very light and calm demeanor, and keep visualizing them with smiles on their faces, and they're paying attention to what you're saying, they're taking it all in. Now there's always one person that has a question. So allow that person to ask you a question. I know this sounds kind of strange. It could be about anything, But visualize them calmly asking a question, and everybody's being very patient. You're being very patient. And then give them an answer in a calm, patient manner. Now I want you to kind of wrap up the meeting with no real interaction with them, but just send everybody love and joy and happiness that's at your meeting. Maybe gratitude also. And place them all in your heart. You can even put your hand over your heart like you have them in your hand and you put them on your heart. And just feel love and joy and gratitude. For their calm presence. Now I want you to tap on your hand, right in between kind of the web area here, in between your ring finger and your pinky. Just tap there. It'll help relieve any other stress that might be coming up, that your brain might be saying, well, what if? No what ifs. It is what it is. We had a happy, joyful gathering. Hopefully you're feeling the joy and unconditional love for those people, whether you're close with them or if they're just coworkers. We're just sending them love and light, setting the tone for the next time we may have to engage with them. Now I want you to tap on your third eye. And once you're feeling all this joy and love and light, we're going to tap that into your third eye. And when you feel a shift, you can put your hands back down. Take a couple more deep breaths. Again, put out the intention again on creating cooperation amongst everybody in your life. You can say a little line to the universe, to God, to Jesus, asking for their help, or just making a direct statement. I will be creating cooperation in the vein of love and joy and light into my life. And when you're finished, you can say amen, or so it is. So mote it be. However you finish your prayers or intentions. a couple deep breaths. Start moving your body and coming back into the room. So I want you to think about what I said about creating cooperation. Maybe do a little journaling on it, maybe brainstorm some ways on getting cooperation from people that might you have difficulty with in your life. If there's specific people, you can write them down and think about, oh, Julie, if I do this or say this, I might be able to get her cooperation. Bob's a hard case, but I think if I say X, Y, and Z to him in a specific way, watch how you frame things, because it's very important to realize how you frame things to certain people. It really helps. Sometimes another tip that I always have when I'm not sure how somebody's going to react to something, I'll try to form it in a question. Trying to think of an example. And I do this more if I'm trying to know something about them specifically without being like, trying to get in their business. I know I'll go into a situation where I know where I want the outcome to be, and I'll go into like my supervisor or whoever and be like, do you think that if we did X, Y, and Z, that would be better workflow or more beneficial to how we do certain things? Something in that vein. Kind of almost like you make it their idea, but not really. Some people don't do direct orders very well. Adults, especially. Direct orders are good for kids, especially kids that are neurodivergent, depending on the situation. But yeah, like come into them from like that back door, like, hey, what do you think about this? I was thinking about this, and I really want your opinion, even if you don't, on what you think. I was thinking this, or then I was thinking this. What do you think? If you get people to buy in like that, instead of saying, hey, Bob, I need you to do this, go do it. That's not going to work. Like, hey, Bob, I really need a favor. Do you think you can help me out? That usually works. So give it a try. Do some journaling. If you have any questions or comments, leave them, in the comments section. Please like and subscribe to the Crystal Center of Healing. My name is Crystal. I wish you a wonderful week. We just went through the full moon and the eclipse, so we're in eclipse season. The energy is going to be heavy. Just let it move through you and cry if you need to cry. If you're angry, find a good outlet for that. Don't be hitting anybody. Not that I think you're going to hit anybody. Anger, if you play drums, channel all your emotions into hobbies, into learning a new hobby. Drums, playing guitar, music's always a big thing. Dance, work out if that's your thing. Some people like to box and do kickboxing and things of that nature. Just channel. If you need a good cry, that's okay. Sometimes we need to cry. And that includes men. I know some men are just like, you'll never see me cry. I'm like, that's almost like a bet to me. Let me work on you. You need to cry. But anyway, have a great week. Remember, like and subscribe, please. Take care until next time.